Imagine a world where car factories were noisy, messy, and full of waste. Workers rushed to meet quotas, managers shouted orders, and production lines stopped constantly because something always went wrong. This was normal for most of the 20th century. Then one company quietly changed everything. A company that didn't just build cars, it built a system so efficient that it reshaped how the entire world makes things. That company was Toyota. Before we dive into this fascinating story of innovation, if you enjoy exploring how ideas transform industries, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us tell more stories about how the world really works. The story of Toyota is not just about cars, it's about philosophy, teamwork, and a deep respect for improvement. It's about how a small company from Japan, struggling after World War II, managed to outsmart the biggest car makers in America and Europe, not by building flashier cars, but by building them smarter. The system Toyota created became known as the Toyota Production System, or TPS. Today, it's the foundation for modern manufacturing everywhere. From Tesla's factories to Apple's suppliers, even hospitals and software teams borrow Toyota's methods. But to understand how it all began, we have to go back to the 1930s, to a small workshop in Japan, where one family's dream began to take shape. The Toyota story actually starts with textiles, not cars. The founder, Sakichi Toyoda, was an inventor obsessed with efficiency. He wanted to make weaving easier for workers. In 1924, he created an automatic loom that stopped itself when a thread broke, an early example of smart automation. This invention wasn't just about saving time. It was about eliminating waste and preventing defects before they spread. This idea would later become one of Toyota's key principles, jidoka, or automation with a human touch. When Sakichi's son, Kiichiro Toyoda, decided to move the family business from looms to cars, people thought he was crazy. Japan didn't have a strong auto industry, and American companies like Ford and General Motors already dominated the world. But Kiichiro believed Japan could build its own cars, better, cheaper, and more efficiently. In 1937, Toyota Motor Corporation was born. The early years were tough. Japan was at war, resources were scarce, and Toyota barely survived. But those hard times taught the company lessons that would later make it unstoppable. After World War II, Japan was devastated. Its factories were in ruins, the economy was weak, and the people were struggling to rebuild. Toyota, like many companies, faced bankruptcy. They couldn't compete with American automakers who had massive factories, advanced technology, and access to cheap materials. Toyota had to find a new way to survive, a smarter way to make cars with limited resources. That challenge would spark one of the greatest transformations in business history. In the late 1940s, a quiet but brilliant engineer named Taiichi Ohno began experimenting with new ideas on the factory floor. Ohno didn't just look at machines, he watched people, movements, and patterns. He asked simple questions. Why are we making so many parts at once? Why are cars waiting in line for their turn? Why do we store so much inventory? Why can't we make only what's needed when it's needed? These questions led to a revolutionary idea: just-in-time manufacturing. Instead of building huge piles of parts in advance, Toyota would make components only as they were needed in the production line. No more overproduction, no more warehouses full of unused materials. It was radical at the time. Most companies believed in mass production. Make more, sell more. But Ohno believed in flow, not volume. If you could eliminate waste and keep everything moving smoothly, you could produce faster, cheaper, and better. This approach became one of Toyota's pillars. Just-in-time meant that every step of the process was connected. Each worker, machine, and supplier had to deliver exactly what was needed, at exactly the right moment. It demanded precision, teamwork, and communication. And when it worked, it was beautiful. A factory that moved like a living organism, always in sync. But there was another challenge. What if something went wrong? In most factories, if a problem appeared, workers were told to keep going to avoid delays. That often made things worse. At Toyota, they did the opposite. They installed a simple tool called the Andon cord. If a worker spotted a defect or issue, they could pull the cord and stop the line immediately. Instead of blaming the worker, managers gathered to solve the problem on the spot. It was a bold idea. Stop everything to fix even the smallest issue. But that culture of respect and problem-solving led to constant improvement. Toyota called this principle Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. Every worker, from the newest hire to the top engineer, was encouraged to find better ways to do their job every day. Small improvements added up over time, creating massive results. Kaizen became more than a technique, it became a mindset. By the 1960s and 70s, Toyota's production system was outperforming every competitor. While American car makers relied on mass production and long assembly lines, Toyota built cars with fewer defects, less waste, and higher quality. When oil prices soared in the 1970s, Toyota's efficient cars became even more attractive to global buyers. The world began to notice that Japan's small, fuel-efficient cars were not only cheaper, they were better built. Western automakers were puzzled. How could a company from Japan, once seen as a minor player, suddenly produce cars that lasted longer and cost less to make? To find out, researchers and engineers from the US visited Toyota's plants in Japan. What they discovered shocked them. Toyota's factories were quiet, organized, and almost peaceful compared to the noisy chaos of Detroit. Workers moved smoothly, machines rarely broke down, and problems were solved instantly. They realized Toyota wasn't just making cars. It was mastering the art of manufacturing itself. This new approach became known around the world as lean manufacturing. It focused on cutting waste, empowering workers, and delivering value to customers with fewer resources. Toyota's principles spread like wildfire across industries, from electronics to healthcare, from construction to software. Everyone wanted to copy Toyota's magic. But the truth is, Toyota's success wasn't magic. It was discipline. Every part of its system was built on respect, learning, and long-term thinking. While other companies chased quick profits, Toyota focused on building a culture. They treated workers as problem solvers, not machines. They believed in fixing the system, not blaming individuals. That's what made their factories so resilient and adaptable. By the 1980s and 1990s, Toyota became the gold standard of quality. Cars like the Corolla and Camry dominated markets worldwide. Customers trusted Toyota not just for innovation, but for reliability. In 2008, Toyota surpassed General Motors to become the world's largest automaker, a historic moment that showed how far it had come from its humble beginnings. But even Toyota faced challenges. Rapid expansion, recalls, and global competition tested the company's principles. Still, Toyota's strength wasn't perfection. It was its ability to learn and improve. Whenever a crisis hit, Toyota returned to its roots: respect for people, elimination of waste, and continuous improvement. Today, Toyota's influence reaches far beyond the car industry. Its production system has been studied by universities, copied by startups, and adapted by governments. Hospitals use Toyota's methods to reduce patient waiting times. Software developers use agile systems inspired by Toyota's just-in-time ideas. Even space agencies and energy companies apply Toyota's lessons to complex projects. Toyota didn't just change how we make cars. It changed how we think about making anything. It showed the world that efficiency is not about speed. It's about balance. That quality doesn't come from inspection. It comes from design. And that true progress doesn't come from one big leap, but from thousands of small, steady steps forward. From a family workshop in Japan to factories around the world, Toyota proved that great systems build great products, and great philosophies build great companies. If you enjoyed this journey into how Toyota changed manufacturing forever, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps us tell more stories about the people and ideas that shaped our modern world.